What up, y'all? Blaze Brown here. Today we're going to do minimal functional strength training, focusing on our wrists and our fingers. As you know, in calisthenics, that's our main point of interest. And we want to bulletproof our fingers and our wrists because, well, they're very small muscles, not too many muscles, and our hands are pretty easy to break in comparison to the rest of our body. The reason I'm focusing on that today is because I actually injured my thumb, hyperextended it, fractured it. I did something. I have very limited range of mobility. It's about as much as I could go, and about pops and cracks every time. But like I said in my prior video, we don't miss days, and being active is about the best thing you can do. But being safe is also numero uno in terms of importance. So to get started, we're gonna go down over to the deck. Keep the garden, by the way. It's a very small sliver of it, but that's it. And what we're gonna do is a little bit of what we were doing in our last video, and that is starting off with a little warm-up, just putting our wrists and our hands on the ground and kind of stacking them so our shoulders are directly over them. See how my shoulders are activated? That's what we want. And we're just gonna lean forward until there's a little burning sensation. And I don't know if you can notice, but this thumb, my right one, is a lot more activated than this one. And that's okay, because I'm putting most of the pressure on my palm, the back of my palm. Like I said prior, you don't really want to miss a day in terms of calisthenics, as consistency is key. And you're just going to start off with some calm little warm-ups. So you're just going to lean forward until it burns. Sit with that burning sensation a little bit and lean back. Go right back forward, and you want your neck kind of head extended, not like this, but like this, and therefore your diaphragm is a little bit more activated, and it allows a little bit more range of motion. So we're just going to start with some leans. And like I said, my left thumb is injured, so we're not going to be getting too crazy today, but just enough to where I can't feel my wrists, you know? If you can feel if you can feel your wrists, if you can feel your elbows, if you can feel your knees, that probably means that they're not in the best condition. And in terms of feeling it, I don't mean clicking, I mean just a soreness or a pain. You shouldn't be feeling a pain in your knees, your elbows, your wrists, anything like that. And we went from a flat palm position, we're going to go into a knuckle position, like an 8, and we have our thumbs out like this, and we're just going to push very lightly, but still leaning forward. Sorry about the video quality, but if I want to make more quality videos, I'm just going to have to keep recording, and it'll get better, because like anything, consistency is key. And you really shouldn't be working out with an injured finger or wrist or thumb, especially when doing calisthenics. But if you're safe about it, it can actually be pretty beneficial. So after we do these little warm-ups, just so I can get some functionality in my hands, we're gonna go straight into a kind of supinated hand position. And we started with this, and we went into the knuckle, and now we're gonna go like this. We're just gonna lean forward. And at first, this might be very uncomfortable because your wrists aren't used to it. And I'm not like this. I have my shoulders completely activated, my chest activated, my chin is up, and I'm leaning forward. And it will feel very awkward at first when doing stuff like that. And I recommend that you switch from that position to this position, like so, each rep, just so you don't mess anything up. And if it's too hard to do both, then just do one at a time. But that right there will definitely bulletproof your wrist to where you can go from a normal push-up into one of these, or even, you know, a double supinated push-up. But we're just gonna stick with the warm-ups. Do a little back crack, some downward dog. Also, I heavily recommend yoga, despite the intensity or the non-intensity, whatever your interpretation of it is. Yoga is completely on the person who is doing it. If it's difficult, that's because you're making it difficult. If it's not, that means you're not going hard enough. So I always encourage a little bit of yoga when it comes to calisthenics to really get that mind-muscle connection. And it really allows you to just gain a lot more control over your own weight. All right. And when leaning forward, I'm emphasizing a grip like so. So I'm leaning forward and I'm almost clenching the ground, but I have the pressure on my palm, so it's not too much on my fingers. After your wrists feel all right, just felt my elbow crack, we're gonna go into some finger exercises. We're just gonna be doing pulses up and down while leaning forward. And this right here will just elasticize your fingers a little bit more, make it a little easier to do finger focused exercises and workouts, because I'm sure a lot of you who are watching this video have seen some pretty amazing things that people can do on just their fingers, whether it's a handstand or a push-up. I can't do that, but I can do a one arm because this thumb is fucked up. So it's really just about the feel of it. And as you can see, my range of motion is not equal. There's not a lot of equilibrium in that. So we're just gonna keep on getting a feel of it, because staying active is numero uno when it comes to calisthenics. All right, now that I'm feeling slightly warmed up, we're gonna move over to the pull-up bar. And I know I said no equipment, but when doing calisthenics, you should have the base equipment of a floor, pull-up bar, if you're lucky, parallettes and dip bars, because that will allow you to get the foundation of calisthenics in, while also minimizing injuries. I actually got this injury from wrestling my little brother in the dark out here last night, and let's just say he bopped, twisted, and pulled my thumb definitely an illegal move. No finger grabbing in wrestling, as most of you know. And we're gonna go over to the bar. Let's get these angles right. Just hurts holding my phone with that thumb. Just to tell you, just to kind of put into perspective how painful it actually is. And a lot of people, when doing pull-ups, really rely on their grip. And yes, that is an essential, but it's not everything. You see, when you do a pull-up, slowly but surely, the bar will start sliding against your palms, and it can become very painful if your hands are not calloused up. And the correct way to grab a bar is to grab it right here. But a lot of people don't have that grip. So I'm going to not use my thumb on my left hand and kind of show you what you can do at home to strengthen your grip while also not working too hard. So here we have an Olympic grade pull-up bar, and what we're gonna do is grab onto it, one arm, and then ease on over to the other. I'm not using my thumb. We're just gonna do alternate single arm hangs. This right here will instill little grippers into your fingers, your palm, and your hand. So when you grab a bar, it's almost like you stick to it. It holds on your hand, on your fingers. And I'm not using my thumbs. I don't know if you could see that, but they're just free, hanging from my fingers, which is what a lot of you will probably start out with. And we're just gonna do some knees to chin or chest, whatever you're feeling. And this engages your core while also bulletproofing your wrists and creating holds on your fingers. And this is completely raw footage, so you're gonna get everything because I don't know how to fucking edit. So after we do about 10 to 12 of those, when it starts burning your abs, we're gonna try and stop the swing, move into L6. You see how every single time I swing back, I L-sit? That's what you want. You want to go until you feel that slip. I draw off on purpose, but if you look at my hands, you could see exactly where the bar was. And you could kind of see all the little holds on my fingers I was talking about right around here. And that gives you a huge advantage when trying to do cool moves like a front lever, which is, if you don't know, that. So another necessity that every calisthenics athlete needs some chalk, because that allows the sweat to build up on your palms, and it gives you an extra amount of grip. And sooner than later, you won't even need chalk because your hands will naturally grip up from doing it so much. So if we get some of this on, it'll take a lot of pressure off my thumb, while also minimizing pain, but also maximizing the amount of progress you make in terms of holds on your hands. So you throw a little bit of that on, and you kind of just go at your own pace. Let's call it freestyle.
Hey, boy.
Yo.
How are you doing?
Can't complain.
He's doing a video.
Oh, okay.
Yep. And I'm not editing anything.
This is when you want us to. This is where
So I did not use my thumb at all to grip the bar. And my hands kind of relay that. And before you even have any calluses, first your skin's gonna tear right over here. And you'll get your first set of calluses. And then likely you'll get your second set right here, another set up here, and then you'll start working down your hand, just gaining more and more grip. And the more calluses you build, the less sensation in your hands, so the less you will feel and the more your tolerance goes up in terms of endurance and longer workouts. So like I said in the prior video, you want to be using any extra energy you have during the day to maximize your gains. Otherwise, if any of you have siblings, you know the struggle, especially younger ones. They're pains in the ass, and they're loud, chaotic. And if you don't, that's where you're gonna get if you have kids. So be mindful, because they're not fucking easy. Back to the lift. We did some groundwork, we did some bar work, and now we're gonna go some light dumbbell work. A lot of people have the misconception that they can't do weight training and calisthenics, but that is simply untrue, as they tie directly into each other. And although you don't need very much equipment, you can get creative. And a good thing for me is I have dumbbells. So, because my thumb is injured, we are going to work on some straight arm strength, and that will directly allow us to, well, strengthen our straight arm strength, which gives us the ability to do pelicans, planches, muscle ups, handstands, and it gives you more coordination overall, because it's not muscles that you're using in calisthenics, it's your tendons that you're strengthening. And the more that your tendons are under pressure, the more elastic they become, meaning the more moldable they are, meaning you get stronger without really realizing it until you're doing it day in, day out. You're very consistent. So right here I have a bench, and gosh, all with the angles. I'm gonna edit. I got it. Just gonna do some straight arm strength, which you can imagine. If you can't imagine, I'll show you. Start like a dumbbell press. Still not really using my thumb. We're gonna go up. Then we're gonna rotate, and then we're just gonna go forward. And I'm only using 10s. And it's still very difficult to hold this position. And I'll go over logistics of it after. Alright. So, let's break it down. Doing that allows your elbows and this part of your elbow, the opposite side, to strengthen. And that is not naturally strengthened in many other ways unless you solely focus on it. And that gives you a huge advantage when doing a lot of daily life activities like functional strength. I train not for aesthetics, not for strength, but for functionality and health. I like to move around, and I want to be comfortable moving around in my body, and calisthenics gives me that leeway to kind of do what I want, when I want, whenever I want. Because if you're doing this stuff day in, day out, you can do this at any time. The only rest you really need is when you're getting a meal, when you're showering, or sleeping. To be perfectly honest, I mean, that's the beauty of it, really. You can just keep on going. If you can't do any more pull-ups, you do some push-ups. If you can't do any more push-ups, you do some handstands. If you can't do any handstands, you do some wrist rotations. And then you can just keep on going back to the fundamentals. And that really allows you to bulletproof each individual part of your body. And as y'all probably can see, I'm not the biggest of people. I'm about a 140 or so, 5'10", but you can see my striations, and I'm not just skin and bone. I'm skin, bone, and muscle, you know. Whew. And that is because I have a very fast metabolism. And big misconception with people in fast metabolisms is that they can just eat and they can eat and they can eat and they won't gain weight. And that is half true, but me personally, I will not gain any weight if I eat sugar and fat foods like ice cream and candy and muffins and snacks. I have to eat healthy to like get gains. Otherwise, I'm not going to gain any weight. And another misconception with fast metabolism, a lot of people say they have fast metabolism, but they don't eat a meal and they don't have to use the bathroom half an hour later. For me, it's a one-way track. And I'm sure there's many of you out there that are in the same boat as me, and there's many of you out there that are not. And either way, the number 2 thing when it comes to calisthenics is your diet and making sure that you're getting the proper nutrients so you're able to train. Because if you're not eating big, you're not going to be able to train big. And that goes directly hand in hand with just about anything in life, okay? And for anybody out there that is struggling to get their meals in, or to figure out what vitamins to take, or trying to just get on more of a healthy meal plan, it's really important to do your own research, because everybody is their own person, and when it comes to working out, it's very individualized. My workouts may not work for other people, but I found these out through years of training and failures and You know, that's just how it goes. Everyone has a different gym journey, and I'm not saying that everybody's the same, but there are definitely a lot of people in the same boat that can benefit from listening to other people online. But you should only take what people say online with a grain of salt. Otherwise, you're not really gonna get too far. Yes, you can follow a push-pull leg workout, or you could go into a bulk eating X amount of this and not eating that, or you can do a clean bulk where you're trying to build lean muscle mass. But it's really the only way to figure out what's gonna work is if you try it. And if you're just gonna bum around all day, not doing anything, you're never really gonna know what your potential is and what works for you. And the more you do physically, the more you experiment, the more that you're actually gonna gain, because the best teacher is your body, is yourself, about that feeling. Okay, you're not gonna go and PR on a bench if your shoulders clicking, and you're not gonna squat real heavy if you haven't squatted, if you don't squat often. So everything that I'm saying, just take it with a grain of salt, try it out, see how it works for you. But the first day is never going to be easy, and as I say every time, consistency is key, because without consistency, you're really not going to get anywhere. Peep this. These flowers, for example, these right here are hydrangeas. They only grow with a certain amount of sunlight. These ones are about as big as my head, but they also survive during the winter. And a lot of people cannot manage to get, well, fully bloomed hydrangeas because they give up on them. They don't consistently try, they don't research, and they really half-ass it when it comes to it. But they are a woman's favorite plant, so if you don't know what they are, now you do. And you should get your mom one for her Mother's Day, for her birthday, because if she's into that stuff, she will definitely enjoy it. Now, moving on from the whole plant to person thing, it really is about just figuring it out, because you're not going to get anywhere doing a whole bunch of nothing. And to conclude this video, I'm going to be doing some push-up variations and talking about what is activated when doing different push-ups. Peep the fort. Low-key tough. So, first things first, we're just gonna use the drone. Now, I was talking about tricep push-ups in the last video, and chest push-ups, but I didn't really dive into how much or how important they are and the direct benefits they get from doing them. So, just a little refresh. This is a tricep push-up. This is a chest push-up. And it's kind of in the name. You know, you use your triceps a lot more in these push-ups. And you can see my elbows are against my body almost. And it's almost like a dip, but in a push-up variation. And when doing a chest push-up, it's a lot more shoulder, a lot more chest, a lot more back, a lot more trap. These, personally, are harder because your tricep is 2/3 of your arm, 3/4 of your arm. And you should be working all your muscles as much as you can, but not to the point of where you're overtraining. And when I say overtraining, I mean you're not recovering properly. When people people overtrain, the biggest issue is that they neglect recovery. And it's very important to recover because that's how you see progress. After a workout, I recommend drinking a protein shake, eating a real meal, taking a nap, and taking a shower just to refresh, reset. I don't recommend bumming around, scrolling on your phone, playing video games. But if you're going from a real high intensity to nothing, it turns into a body deficit. You want to go into levels. In my prime, per se, I'm 19, but in my prime during high school, I would run like a mile or two, and then I would do calisthenics during every like quarter mile, so like 25 push-ups or a handstand walk, and then I'd eat, and then I would work something else, whether it's pull-ups or more push-ups. I mean, you're gonna be doing push-ups all the goddamn time. If you're really trying to get somewhere, you should be doing 100 to 500 push-ups a day in sets of 25, 50, 10, 5, whatever you can do. And something that one of my friends told me was doing a perfect form push-up. If you could do as many perfect form push-ups as you can per day, you're gonna exponentially increase. And may as well show you what a perfect form push-up is, but this guy was coming off a shoulder injury, a hernia surgery, a lower back injury, a spinal rotation, some spinal injury, and he was doing about 8 perfect push-ups a day, so that's about 1 an hour just during the day whenever he had that extra energy. And that really helped him with his recovery because he was actively doing it, but that was the most he could do, just 1 perfect push-up per set. And to get a perfect push-up, it is very difficult, and not all people have actually done a perfect push-up in their life, but I will try and demonstrate that. And that is stacking your wrists over your shoulders over your wrists, leaning forward. I'm on my toes, like my big toes. And then I have my chest out. I'm just going down. My entire body is straight. I'm gripping the ground. And as you're going down, you don't want to lean back, but you actually want to be leaning forward the entire time. It's just that full range of motion. And do the perfect push-up. These are perfect chest push-ups. A lot of people will probably critique my form, but I feel a huge activation in my entire body. And I think that is the most important thing when it comes to perfect push-up. Now, to really conclude this video, I'll be talking about a leg workout, which is a calisthenic athlete's worst nightmare. So first things first, you have a pistol squat. All right? If that is too difficult, you can either hold on to something while doing it, or like so, or you can put your hand down, just do that, and then get that activated. But the most important thing when doing that is your heel is on the ground and fully planted. If you're on your toes, it's gonna mess your foot up. Now I have a lot more problems doing pistol squats on my left foot due to an external arch injury I got while running the track and not wearing proper shoes. I was running 3 to 6 miles a day, and I didn't have the proper running attire, and I was putting too much pressure whenever I turned the track on my foot, so it got kind of disproportionate. That was almost a year ago, but I still have problems with that arch, and it's not painful, but there's a lack of stability. And the number one thing that you should get from these videos is that you don't want to hurt yourself. You just want to get to the point of almost absolute failure. And a lot of people say train till failure, and you should, but you want to be safe about it. Failure of a perfect rep is what I say. Because once you get to that point, injuries are just exponential. So we have pistol squats, we have jump squats, we have jump lunges, this arch. And it's really about focusing on what you're trying to do and not really caring how it looks, because you're trying to get that form down, and it's gonna look real goofy at first, but the more you do it, the better you get, and the more people start taking notice, because a lot of people are not doing a lot of the things that you're probably doing as a calisthenics athlete. It's amazing, it seems superhuman, but all it is consistency. It's like watching a musician in their element. It's an art, like a Picasso thing. I think that will conclude this video, but if you have any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to leave them, and I'll do my best to answer them to the best of my ability. So, you have a great day.